afternoon, everybody. Welcome to MSP Business School. As always, I'm Brian Doyle joining you today. We've got a very special guest joining us today, somebody that has probably learned more about AI or already learned more about AI than we will ever know. I want to welcome to the show today somebody that before Siri, before Alexa, there was Kevin Surace. Widely recognized as the father of the AI virtual assistant, Kevin is the Silicon Valley innovator with over 95 worldwide patents and a track record of building the future before anyone else knew it was coming. From the first cellular data smartphone to biometric security, multivariate reverse auctions, and the first generative AI for software QA. He is Inc. Magazine's Entrepreneur of the Year, a CNBC Top Innovator of the Decade, and a World Economic Forum Tech Pioneer. His new book, The Joy Success Cycle, is changing the way people think, act, and thrive every single day. Please welcome Kevin to the podcast. Kevin, thank you so much for joining me today.
Brian, thank you for having me on.
So that's a lot to unpack right there as we get started. And for those that don't know you, maybe talk a little bit, of kind of how you entered into the world of AI, because it's still, an emerging topic to many. Many don't know how long it's actually been around.
It's been around. Well, AI was really started, even the term, in the 1950s. We knew about neural networks even then. We couldn't do deep learning then, but we were doing AI. We did traditional machine learning for decades. And then processing power got better and better. And by the late 90s, I had the idea to create a human in the network and call her Mary and make the service name Portico MyTalk, Magic Talk, the GM OnStar Virtual Advisor, all of these things. And so we built the very first virtual assistant, dozens of patents on that thing, at a company called General Magic that spun out of Apple. So we spun the company out of Apple to do these unique things, including agents. We developed agents. We developed a language for agents called Telescript. So we did amazing things at this company, including invent the AI assistant. And Mary was amazing, and she could talk to you, and you could talk to her, and she would answer your phone, and she would book people on your calendar for you. She does things you can't do today with Siri, which is funny. But so then, then that technology kind of waned for a while, and people didn't pay a lot of attention to it. Then it got a little more attention when Apple launched Siri, and then that kind of waned for a while. And now finally everybody's going, hey, these AI assistants are pretty cool. Yeah. If you can talk to it and it can do stuff. So yeah, all of that's based on the work we did then. I've got 95 patents, if you can believe it or not, across multiple fields.
About three lifetimes worth of patents.
Three lifetimes. And then look, all I was trying to do was solve a problem, right? And the problem was people were in their car. They now had internet. They now had cell phones, but you couldn't get any of that in the car. And so they wanted access to their calendar. They wanted to know where to go next. Yeah, everybody wanted an assistant. So if I gave you a virtual assistant for $89 a month, it was a steal. And that's all we were trying to do is solve a problem. And today it turns into a big thing. I had someone just recently ask me on a podcast, how do you feel that some people in customer support will lose their jobs because of you? I said, well, I wasn't thinking about that in 1998.
Well,
Kevin, I wasn't thinking that far ahead.
It's great you bring that up because, I think that's a big bone of contention within the MSP and MSSP industry right now is, is this going to get rid of jobs? And I think the more prevailing feeling is it's going to change how jobs are conducted. There was once upon a time somebody that used to be in the elevator with you and make sure you can get up the floors. That person's job was eliminated and we all seem to survive just fine, right? And thrive. So, I'd love to get your thoughts on where you think that's going to head in terms of staffing, and in terms of,
I can tell you
growth.
I can tell you the data are very clear already. We created 364,000 jobs with a title of AI in them that didn't exist before 3 years ago. And we've laid off upwards of 100,000 people, supposedly because of AI. Some of them weren't really because of AI. Nonetheless, we're creating jobs at about 3 or 4 times the rate of the layoffs. Some tasks are going away, but overall, at least in the US, here's what's happening. Over the next really 5 years, 18 million people are leaving the workforce because of retirement, and only 14 million are available to come in. Your companies, because of AI, are all going to get more productive, which is going to lower the cost of goods and services, which is going to increase the demand, which means you need more people than there are coming into the workforce, and the experienced ones are retiring. So we are in a huge deficit of people going forward, at least in the United States, because we stopped having kids. And this doesn't change. So without AI, without you, Mr. MSP or MSSP, making your company 20, 30, 50% more productive with AI, you cannot grow. You're not going to be able to hire enough people.
Yeah, MSPs were complaining about not being able to find good talent long before AI came on the scene. And now it's changing the dynamic of what we need. And, usually that's a good thing, right? We're in another wave. Technology moves fast, and this is moving
Absolutely.
real fast.
Absolutely. All these technologies move fast, but each successive generation moves faster. Gen AI went from 0 to 1 billion users in under a year. That's kind of unheard of, right? It's really unheard of. But here we are, and we're not only surviving. I have a rule. If you want to lead, you're using AI at least 5 times an hour. You have to be an AI first person. Certainly, if you're an MSP or an MSSP, you want to be AI first. You don't go to a spreadsheet to make a spreadsheet. You go to AI to create the spreadsheet, and then you can export it to Excel. But you're going to do it all in AI, and everyone wants to be AI first. And look, I think to a great extent, it's the MSP's job to help roll out these models into the companies, help train them, make sure they're secure, make sure they're paid for. For some companies, it might be more than one model, right? Some people are on Gemini, some people want a Claude, some people want OpenAI, whatever the case is. Everyone has kind of Copilot, but Copilot might not be doing everything you want to do. So there's that. And then there's 5,000 companies that make very specific AI driven products that companies, even small companies, want. And so now the MSP has to vet that and get it hooked into the network and get it hooked into Okta and, whatever your SSO is, et cetera, et cetera. So there's that going on. And we were talking about this earlier, Brian, about how to do these right. Here's how you do them right. You pick a tiger team, only a tiger team that's incentivized to make it work. Do not roll it out across the company because lots of people are going to not want it to work. They're going to be uncomfortable with it. They don't have time. Find a tiger team, 3, 4, 5 people, you prove it there, and then you roll it out across that company. That is working really, really well across the industry.
Yeah, I think we've seen some large deployments go out and then get rolled back because they just weren't getting the proper feedback to really even see where to take it. Now, I want to shift gears a little bit, if you don't mind, because to something else we were talking about a little earlier, and you touched upon it just a moment ago: security and some of the realities of what's going on the marketplace. Behind the scenes, right, at the authentication level, at the identity level, that you've got some really good insight into.
Well, here's the thing. In the midst of everything else I'm doing, and I do 30 plus keynotes a year, and I've just finished this book. I'm actually CEO of 2 companies right now. One is an AI company that is AI for software quality assurance. It is mind-blowingly good. It will find 10 times more bugs than anything you've ever used before. Period. Full stop. Name of that company's AppVance. And then the other company is a company called Token Core. It's just at tokencore.com, Token Core. And so we really got tokens started several years ago, saying that when AI advanced, the way that people would use AI to get into your network or generate a ransomware request, right, would be to use it against humans. And everybody thought, oh, we're going to use AI and we're going to find these 0 days and get in the network. And there is some of that, but the stats don't play that out, actually. The statistics are really clear. Palo Alto Networks Unit 42 stated just a few months ago that 90% of all ransomware attacks happen because of identity. And in fact, today happen 100% because of compromising MFA or the auth apps that you rolled out. And so some of the people hearing that are going, I just rolled out auth apps. I just got the Salesforce auth app or the Microsoft auth app or Okta or whatever it is. Okay, those are not secure at all, and nor are MFA or MFA codes or SMS codes. Now, let me tell you the reason why. The reason isn't that someone's doing a SIM swap overseas yes, you can do that. That's hard. Here's the reason. All I have to do is convince the human to give it to me. And I'll give you an example. AI can now create absolute perfect, unique phishing emails for every employee in a company. Unique. And there's no links in the email, but there's an attachment, a PDF, a calendar invite, something else. People open the attachment. It doesn't look like a dangerous attachment. And the email came from DocuSign or Okta or some known thing. An employee opens the email, right? Clicks on the PDF. It says, you've got to update your employment record, blah, 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 blah. Here's the link. They click on the link and they go to their page. I'm going to say it's, okta.amazon.com or whatever. It's literally a pixel perfect page to the one they're used to logging into. So they log in, they type their ID, they type their password. The Auth app comes up and says, "Is this you?" And you say, "Yes, it's me." The whole time, everything was getting relayed to the hacker in Russia. And what's interesting about that's what's called real-time relay, man in the middle real-time relay, right? And what's interesting about that is you, as an employee, think that you're secure because you got this auth app. And all you did was authorize, not you, because you weren't logging into the real application. You authorized the hacker to go in. And there's no way for you to know how to stop that. And so two things. I want to talk about training. Everyone is doing training. I get that. They do security training. That's great. You keep doing it. Here's the real stats, because this was done at San Diego State. 500 employees. They trained some. They didn't train the others. The difference between them in those that opened the thing, did the whole thing, those that were fooled by AI and those that stopped was only 2%, which basically means either 35% of your employee base actually hands over the keys or 33% hands over the keys. But it's going to be something like that, which means you can't make training, get it to 0, which means you're going to be hacked. So I'll stop. Oh no, let me carry. So what's the solution? Now that I've scared you that the auth apps you rolled out don't work, and they don't. By Microsoft's own admission, their auth app was hacked 96,000 times, compromised really. And just last year. And then an MFA doesn't work. So you say, what do you do? Well, the answer is biometric authentication and biometric assured identity. And biometric assured identity is working. That's a field that Gartner created a couple of years ago, but it is what everybody's moving to. And so at Token Core, that's what we did. If you're on video, you can see I'm wearing this cool little ring here. And if you're not, or if you're on video, you also see I've got this little device, which is a token portable. There's a bunch of other devices we have. But basically what these do is they use your fingerprint to get into any application, and without the fingerprint, and you can't get in. So your fingerprint's stored inside the device. The device goes with you. You can log into your phone. You can log into your Mac. You can log into Windows. You can log into Linux. Doesn't matter. It all works. Without your fingerprint, no one gets in, which means the hacker can't get in because they don't have your fingerprint. And it's domain bound to the original domain you logged into. So it doesn't work on a spoofed domain, right? Yeah. Spoofed page. And you have to be within 3 feet of the logging in computer. And a hacker in Russia is not within 3 feet of you. So this, if I say, hack proof, someone's going to yell at me, but basically we cannot think of an easy way that one could, even if you stole the device, you don't have the fingerprint, you can't get in, can't do anything. So it's really the future of the way we're going to log into everything is use our biometrics. And then the corporation and the MSP and the MSSP knows that Brian logged in for sure. Well, someone cut off your arm maybe, but otherwise Brian logged.
You hit on two interesting things there. I used to operate data centers, and obviously we're borrowing some of the concepts that were around to ensure that only the right people got into to the data centers. We're bringing
we use face, eyes, and fingerprint. Yes, and handprint.
And then I really am interested about that proximity piece, because that is a big portion of it as well.
It is because this works only on BLE or low energy Bluetooth. So it says it only works on BLE and it only works within about 3 feet of your server or your laptop or your mobile phone. So if someone is 100 feet away, it doesn't work. If someone's 1,000 miles away, it doesn't work. Like nothing lights up, because this little device that I have on my thing called a token ring or token wearable, it doesn't speak Wi-Fi and it doesn't speak cellular. So there's no way to get it to respond except directly from the laptop that you're on. It's really fascinating. So this really closes the gap on almost every ransomware attack that has happened. It was the one for the schools and all the airlines and all the insurance companies and everything that's happening. I mean, Kodak recently just got attacked. I'm here in Rochester, New York right now, so I'm thinking of Kodak. And, most of these companies pay the ransomware, and the ransomware is in the millions of dollars. And so don't let that happen to you. The other thing this supports is true passwordless and even usernameless. I don't even need my username. There's a fingerprint. It's only me. That's it. It's like going to in the old server rooms, right? And you'd go up and it'd be facial or eye or iris or fingerprint. You didn't have a username. You didn't have a password. It's your fingerprint. That's it. That's you. You're done. So we fully support that today. And this is all FIDO2 capable, biometric FIDO2. So it already is compatible with Okta, all your SSOs, Microsoft, Oracle. It's compatible with everything already. It just works.
And I think the thing I'm hearing here too is, immediately mind jumps to, hey, that works on my MacBook that way. But the
It
reality
does.
here is we're talking, it's across all enterprise infrastructure. You're able to segment out exactly
Yeah.
what people have access to and be able to grant them access accordingly and probably
But,
add their
but
access as well.
Brian, that little fingerprint thing on your MacBook, it doesn't work this way. All it does is fill in your password and send
Yeah.
it. There's no security there. It's actually a convenience feature, not a security feature.
Yeah, I was going to say that's where this becomes a security feature because you're able to isolate it to the particular assets and logins. So very cool.
Absolutely, and it itself, the device is the one that approves you and says you are you. This is the fingerprint that matches the exact fingerprint that registered originally on the domain within 3 feet.
All right, so we know everybody loves virtual agents and talking there, and now we've got a way to secure our access to it. As somebody that's been around this as long as you have been, where do you see things going? What's the next step in the world of AI?
Well, we've got to secure everything, and by the way, we're securing agents with these too, so the agents can't get past, say, a paywall, essentially a paywall, right? They can't get past the gate without a human and their biometrics approving it. Look, AI is going to take over everything that we do. There's going to be more employment, more employees, and more need for you. But everything's going to be AI first. There's not a question about that. If I had said that about Excel and math in 1989, you would have said, "What? It's going to take over all of finance?" It took over all of finance. I mean, of course you use Excel, and so and this is true with the creation of films, the creation of music. It's
Yeah,
true
we said
with
it
everything.
about the internet, and really the only thing that slowed it down was the ability to get the bandwidth.
That's right. But when the internet arrived, at first people said, "What am I going to use this for?" And the smart people said, "Everything." And here we are today. If the internet goes down, I guess you go home. Like there's nothing to do, right? We're so dependent on it. We will all be so dependent on AI that there will be nothing to do if it goes down. Nothing. And so as an MSP and an MSSP, job one is I got to deal with security. And, biometric assured identity is also going to be the way we're going to be logging onto Zoom. In fact, Zoom is working on a moniker that says you were biometrically identified as you, and you're a real human, and your biometrics match, right? So that's going to show up. So you got to deal with the security, and then you say, how do I help these people roll this out smartly and securely and safely? And then you got to deal with agents, and everybody wants agents, and everyone wants to deploy these agents, and an MSP anyway has to get smart enough about creating agents and using agents and securing agents and giving them context, the kind of context and orchestration that they need. I can't imagine most business processes not having some AI agents helping with that business process in the next few years, right? Why would you do that? Because there's so much gain coming from this. It's really a game changer.
We're getting near the end of our time, but I do want to make sure we talk a little bit about the book, The Joy Success Cycle. Tell me a little bit about what readers should expect there.
It's my shameless promotion on video anyway, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I will tell you about the book. So people say, why are you writing a book of joy? Well, first of all, this is how I've operated. So in fact, it's just a methodology of the way Kevin is operating. It's scientifically backed. So there's a whole chapter on the science that backs the fact that joy needs to come before success, not after. Joy comes before success, not after. And that is an incredible realization. And when you realize it, then you want the method to have joy in every moment of your day because you want to be the most successful you can. And that's exactly what this is this book is doing. So we lay out a methodology, and in the era of AI, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, all the joy is out of my work and I don't get to do the things I like." And I will teach you in this book how there is great joy in using AI. There's joy in having AI take the joyless tasks away and having AI do those tasks. And you're going to have more joy in your life going forward. And if you follow the method, you will be more successful. And the science backs that, data backs it, and it has a foreword by Goldie Hawn, which everyone's going to love to read. So, there's a reason for
nice
that.
Ad right there. Good for you.
It's a nice ad. Yeah, Goldie's been a friend for a long time. And to some extent, Goldie got me thinking about why this is important, why joy comes before success. And it does. And so the joy success cycle says joy first, then success, which leads to more joy, which leads to more success. And that's how you set up the feedback loop. You don't wait until you have success, because that doesn't set up the feedback loop. Then it's too late.
That is awesome, Kevin. I mean, I think that, when you talk about Goldie, I just think about my daughter as a creative, and they tend to think joy first and success second, just as a kind of a natural progression. But a lot of the
Right.
folks that live in our world of IT definitely struggle with that. There's a lot of burnout, there's a lot of depression. And I think
Yeah.
part of it is because there's not a lot of thinking about ourselves, because we tend to be servant mentality to begin with. So really,
Yeah.
really
Well,
good to have a
it's hard.
resource like this out there.
Yeah, look, it's hard if you're at an MSSP or MSP and you're a service organization, obviously, and every 5 minutes there's someone coming at you that this isn't done and that isn't done and it's not fast enough and all that. It's hard. But my suggestion is this: start to look at each one of those as a learning experience. I can learn from my customer. I can learn how to do something better. I might be able to learn how to apply AI to help me do it better. So all of this is learning. And one of the chapters in the book, we talk about curiosity and why you want to be curious to learn more at every task. And so every task you do, I know it seems, overbearing and too much and all that. But on the other hand, if you look at it as if you're in school and you're learning to do this faster and better each time, even if you've done it 100 times before, then you go, wow, I'm activating my brain. I'm probably going to live longer. I'm going to have a longer health span because my brain is really active and working these problems, right? And I'm going to learn how to solve each one of these a little faster each time. You start to look at the job differently. And then we also say, look, if you're in a job that no matter what you do, and you've tried everything in the book, you don't have any joy in, then that's fine. You need to find a different job, because you're just not going to be successful. You're going to come and go, oh, I hate my job. I hate the people I work with. We all know people like that. I'm not blaming them. It's like, it's time to bless that out of your life and move on to something else. And frankly, that's good for your employer and it's good for you. It's good for everybody, right? Nobody wants nobody wants a Brian Doyle that hates doing podcasts, right?
Exactly.
You shouldn't do it. Don't do it anymore. You say, Kevin, this was my last podcast. I'm done.
This is what feeds my soul as I do all the other technical work we do in our,
Right.
my day job, right? So I love
Right.
it, and it's a big part of what I love to do, and I love to have great folks like you come in and share what they know.
Well, thanks. Well, look, we got to talk about the book. We got to talk about Token Core and this huge rollout to biometric assured identity now and moving away from MFA and auth apps, which is great. We talked about AI and how it's impacting not only MSPs and MSSPs, but how we got to roll that out with agents to our clients. It's quite the time in technology. So much is going on all at the same time.
It's a huge opportunistic time right now, and the MSPs that adapt and change their models a little bit to meet up with the new information provider mentality are just going to thrive over the next 10 years. It's going to be phenomenal.
Absolutely. Look, AI has moved things so fast. The number one thing I hear about Token Core from MSSPs is, but Kevin, we just rolled out, MFA 6 months ago. How am I going to go back and tell them that doesn't work anymore? I'll have egg on my face. I said, better egg on your face than a ransomware attack, which is what's going to, but it's hard, right? In other words, my point is, we used to put technology there that would last 10 years or 5 years. And now it's good for 6 months, right? Because AI is here and it's thwarting these things. It's compromising them. So it's a very interesting time in tech, but I would encourage everyone to just keep learning every day and bring joy to your work, and buy the book. It's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
To that end, we will have links to your book, to Token Core, to AppVance as well. So folks that want to explore that, we'll have that in the show notes. And we'll also put in your LinkedIn link. So if people want to follow
Fabulous.
you and learn a little bit more about you, they can. Kevin, any closing thoughts as we wrap up today?
I probably gave you most of my closing thoughts, but I'll give you this one. One of the main rules in the joy success cycle is this: we as humans like to complain, internal and external, about 100 times a day. And I'm going to tell you that every time you complain, you're taking away your chance of greatest success in your life, in your career, with your family, with your friends, whatever it is, with religion. And so we have a rule, which is to work towards the one complaint a day rule. And you're going to start out at 100, and then you're going to work on it. You're going to work yourself to 1. And that day you're going to get up in the morning, you're going to go, oh, my knees hurt. You're going to, you've used up
Let
your
it
one
go.
complaint for the entire day. And people who follow this rule, I'm telling you, within 2 weeks, they call me and say, I'm so proud. I was 0 today. I've figured out how to move my brain away from trying to complain about everything and instead finding joy in every moment. So I hope I can leave your wonderful listeners with that thought for today.
That is a great closing statement. Again, I want to thank you for joining me today, Kevin. Listeners, as you know, you can get this podcast anywhere that you can download it, as well as seeing it up on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button. Kevin, thank you so much, and I wish you the best. Good luck with the new ventures, the book, and
Thanks,
we'll
Brian.
keep an eye.
Yeah, thanks.